Hello friends, welcome to my kitchen. Let's start by cracking 3 fresh eggs into a bowl. Eggs have always been a symbol of home for me. Simple, nourishing, and full of life. Add 1 teaspoon of salt. One teaspoon of black pepper. And 1 teaspoon of oregano. Pour in a cup or 240 milliliters of cream, rich, smooth, and full of calcium and good fats that keep us strong. Then add 3 tablespoons of flour. One teaspoon of baking powder. Mix everything until the batter turns silky and smooth. It's such a small moment of calm. Just you and the rhythm of the whisk, knowing this simple mix will turn into something warm and golden later on. Now, fill a pot with water. Add 1 teaspoon of salt. Bring to a boil. Drizzle of olive oil. That little touch helps the pasta cook evenly and gives it a lovely shine. Friends, I'd be so happy to hear where you're from. Let me know your city, country, and if you're in the US, your state too. Then drop in about 8 ounces, or 250 grams of pasta. Cook the pasta until al dente. In a pan, heat a splash of olive oil, heart-healthy and full of antioxidants. Finely chop 1 onion. Onions not only add flavor, but also help boost your immune system, a small comfort on busy days. And as that sharp, sweet scent fills the air, it always reminds me of coming home from school to the smell of something cooking, that quiet promise that dinner was on its way. If something is unclear in the recipe, just leave a comment, and I'll answer as soon as possible. Liking this video would be appreciated. It's a great way to show your support. Toss it in. That gentle sizzle and the first wave of sweetness feel like the beginning of something good. Stir until golden. Grate 1 carrot, bright and full of beta-carotene for healthy eyes. Its cheerful color lights up the pan like a bit of sunshine. Friends, if you enjoy what you see, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications for similar recipes in the future. And add it next. Then grate 2 cloves of garlic. That aroma, sharp and warm, always takes me back to evenings when my grandmother cooked. You could smell the garlic halfway down the street, and you just knew something delicious was waiting. Stir them in. Now, chop one chicken fillet into small pieces. Chicken is such a wonderful source of lean protein, the kind of food that fuels you without weighing you down. Add it to the pan. As it cooks, the sizzling sound mixes with the earthy scent of the vegetables, a little music of home. Now, finely slice 7 mushrooms. Take your time and enjoy the rhythm of the knife. Mushrooms are full of minerals and antioxidants, and they add that wonderful earthy depth to any dish. They soak up the flavors beautifully and bring that deep, hearty note to the dish. Add the mushrooms to the pan and let them soak up all the flavors already there: the onions, the garlic, the warmth of the spices. Next, finely chop 1 bell pepper. Its bright color and crisp sweetness always bring a little cheer to the cutting board. As you slice, that fresh scent fills the air and takes me right back to childhood summers, when we'd pick peppers straight from the garden and eat them still warm from the sun. Add the chopped pepper to the pan. Now, dice 1 ripe tomato, soft, juicy, and full of lycopene, which supports heart health and gives that deep red color. Fresh tomatoes always remind me of family picnics, when someone would slice them right at the table, sprinkle a little salt, and everyone would reach for a piece. Add the tomato to the pan and watch as their sweetness and freshness balance out all the savory flavors perfectly. sprinkle in 1 teaspoon of salt. One teaspoon of black pepper. One teaspoon of oregano. Stir gently, and as the colors blend together, you can almost feel the comfort of a home-cooked meal coming to life. Drain the pasta and pour it into a large bowl. Add the chicken and vegetables. Mix it all together. Grate 2 ounces, or about 60 grams of Parmesan cheese. That nutty, salty scent instantly fills the air, reminding me of family gatherings, where someone always said, "Just a little more cheese." It's not only delicious, but packed with calcium, good for the bones and the soul. Stir everything together. The warmth melts the cheese just enough to coat everything in a light, creamy layer. Take 3 small round baking dishes. Spoon in the pasta with the chicken and vegetables. Pour the creamy egg and flour mixture evenly over the top. I always love this step. Watching the sauce slowly sink through the pasta feels so peaceful, like the dish is coming together all on its own. Grate a bit more cheese. The cheese gives that beautiful crust when baked, bubbling and slightly crisp at the edges. And sprinkle it generously over the top, that final layer that will melt and turn golden in the oven. Place the dishes into a preheated oven at 360 degrees Fahrenheit or 180 degrees Celsius and bake for 20 to 30 minutes. When the casseroles are golden and bubbling, take them carefully out of the oven. The cheese stretches slightly, the pasta glistens. I hope it brings as much warmth and joy to your home as it always brings to mine. Thank you for cooking with me today, but don't go just yet. there's another cozy and tasty recipe I'd love to share with you. Take 4 eggs and crack them gently into a bowl. There's something so comforting about this sound. The start of a meal always begins with something simple. Add 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of pepper, 1 teaspoon of oregano, whisk everything together until smooth and frothy. Oregano's earthy aroma instantly fills the air, that familiar scent that always reminds me of cozy family dinners when something warm was baking in the oven. Once the eggs are mixed, pour in 1 cup, or about 200 milliliters of cream, followed by 1 cup or 240 milliliters of milk. Now add half a cup or 60 grams of flour, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, stirring steadily until the batter is smooth and lump-free. The texture should be silky, thick enough to coat a spoon. You'll know it's ready when it feels like comfort in motion. Now, fill a large pan with water. Add a generous pinch of salt. Stirring until it dissolves. Once the bubbles rise, add 8 ounces, or about 250 grams of butterfly pasta, also known as farfalle. Cook until al dente. Now, warm a frying pan over medium heat and drizzle in a little olive oil, just enough to coat the bottom. Finally, chop 1 white onion. Take your time here. There's something soothing about the rhythm of the knife, that steady tap-tap on the cutting board. Onions have this wonderful way of turning sharpness into sweetness, both in flavor and in feeling. Add the onion to the pan. As it sizzles, it softens and turns translucent, releasing that gentle sweetness that feels like the start of something homey. Now take 2 cloves of garlic and grate them on a mini grater. I always love this part. The garlic oils cling to your fingers, and the air fills with that bold, warm scent. It's amazing how such a tiny thing can bring so much flavor and memory. As you grate, it's easy to think back to childhood dinners, when the smell of garlic and onion meant something delicious was on its way. Stir the garlic into the pan, and for a moment, just breathe in that aroma. Simple, comforting and timeless. Add 1 pound, or about 450 grams, of ground beef into the pan, breaking it apart with a spatula. The sizzle changes, deeper now, richer. That sound alone feels satisfying. Cook for 10 to 15 minutes, stirring occasionally, until the beef is browned and fragrant. By now, our pasta should be ready. Drain the water and let the steam rise for a moment before placing the pasta into a large bowl. Once the ground beef is cooked through, season it with 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of black pepper, and 1 teaspoon of oregano. Mix well so every bite of meat carries that gentle warmth. Remove the pan from the heat. Pour the seasoned beef into the bowl with the pasta. Toss it all together. The textures, the colors, everything blending into the start of something hearty and familiar. Now pour in 1 cup, or about 200 milliliters of tomato sauce. Stir it through gently until the pasta and beef are fully coated. The sauce adds that rich tanginess that ties everything together. Next, grate about 4 ounces, or 120 grams of Parmesan cheese, its nutty aroma filling the kitchen. Sprinkle it into the mixture and give it a final stir. The cheese melts just slightly, binding everything with that creamy, savory goodness that always feels like home. Now, lightly grease a baking dish with a touch of olive oil, spreading it evenly so nothing sticks. Pour the pasta, beef, and cheese mixture into the dish and smooth it out in 1 even layer. This will be the foundation of our beautiful casserole. Now for the vegetables. Slice 1 zucchini into rings first, crisp and bright. It always feels like bringing a little bit of the garden onto your cutting board. Zucchini is full of fiber, light, and gentle on the stomach. The kind of ingredient that makes comfort food feel a little more wholesome. Now, stack a few of those rings and slice them into thin strips. The knife glides so easily through the tender flesh, soft on the inside, smooth on the outside. place it in a bowl. Sprinkle with salt. Mix with your hands. Let it sit for a few minutes. It's an old trick that draws out the extra water and keeps everything crisp. Meanwhile, heat a little more olive oil in a frying pan. Finely chop 1 red onion. The color so vibrant, it almost glows. As the knife moves, you can hear that soft rhythm, the quiet heartbeat of every kitchen. Add the onion to the pan. As it softens, the sweet, mellow aroma begins to rise. That familiar scent that always feels like home. It's amazing how something so simple can fill a room with warmth before dinner even begins. Next, chop 1 red bell pepper. Bright, juicy, and full of vitamin C and antioxidants that bring both brightness and balance. And toss it in. The moment it hits the pan, the color deepens, and the kitchen feels a little sunnier. Then slice about 7 ounces or 200 grams of mushrooms. Their earthy scent and soft texture always remind me of slow Sunday lunches, when everyone lingered at the table a little longer, talking and laughing as the meal filled the house with comfort. Add the mushrooms to the pan and listen to that gentle hiss. All the vegetables cooking together, their colors softening, their flavors blending into something warm and familiar. Give everything a good stir and let the vegetables cook down for a few minutes. Now squeeze the water out of the zucchini strips. You can feel how light and tender they've become. And add them to the pan. Chop 1 ripe tomato. Stir it in. The color deepens, the texture softens, and suddenly the whole pan smells alive. Season with 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of pepper, and 1 teaspoon of oregano. Let everything simmer gently for about 10 more minutes. The flavors blending together into something warm and rustic. Once the vegetables are ready, spoon them carefully over the pasta and meat layer in the baking dish, spreading them evenly across the top. The colors, gold, red, and green, make it look like a summer garden baked into dinner. Now take the creamy egg mixture we made earlier and pour it evenly over the vegetables. It seeps through the layers, binding everything together so it bakes into a single, comforting whole. Finally, grate about 7 ounces or 200 grams of cheddar cheese. Sprinkle it generously over the top. This is the moment that always makes me smile. The cheese will bubble, melt, and turn golden in the oven. Preheat the oven to 360 degrees Fahrenheit or 180 degrees Celsius and slide the casserole in. Bake for about 30 minutes until the top is golden brown and beautifully set. While the casserole bakes, finely chop a bunch of fresh parsley. Its bright color and crisp, herbal aroma always remind me of my grandmother's kitchen garden. She'd send us out to pick a handful right before dinner, saying no dish was complete without a touch of green. After 30 minutes, carefully take the casserole out of the oven. It looks absolutely beautiful. The cheese golden and bubbling, the edges slightly crisp, the layers underneath perfectly set. Cut a generous slice. Place it on a plate. And sprinkle that fresh parsley on top. Every bite has something special. Tender pasta, savory beef, sweet vegetables, and that creamy golden top tying it all together. It's the perfect dish to share with family, to gather everyone around the table, and to fill your home with warmth and laughter. Thank you for cooking with me today. Until next time, happy cooking!